Okay.
ठीक है ना शुरू? Yes.
All
Now we
right.
can start it.
So let me tell you something about modern wildlife management. After my years in Kanha National Park in the early 1970s, I became a national park manager in Africa. So I managed tropical rainforest national parks in Ghana and in a number of other countries. And I always benefited from the insight that I had gained during my years in Kanha. Because wildlife management or national park management is not just a static thing. You cannot just put a habitat aside and believe it will remain the same. Since these are all nowadays, they are islands. They are islands in populated lands, in agricultural lands, and by nature, such natural areas are prone to change because wildlife populations may build up, other species may be outcompeted and disappear, the vegetation may change. And that is the reason why you need a wildlife management which looks at the integrity of the park from the point of view of the forest composition, the changes that happen in the forest, the grassland composition, and the response of the wildlife or the effects of the wildlife of these changes that have happened. That's an island effect that happens in islands as well, because they are isolated and there is a certain dynamic to which you have to respond without becoming too heavily interventionist. So currently in this much larger Kanha National Park than it used to be, a very large part has been added in the Bisampura and no, sorry, not the Bisampura. What did I say?
Super.
The Besangat, the Besangat, as well as the Supka ranges, which has a lot of new habitat, potentially good habitat. In this very much larger park, some areas are now prone to certain grass species which are spreading almost in a monotypic stance. That means the biodiversity of the grassland flora has diminished in certain areas. And they are primarily, they are unpalatable grasses that are spreading in a number of areas, which is a problem for the herbivores. Fortunately, there are other areas in the park where the grassland flora is of an excellent quality still for these herbivores. But even those invasive plants that you see now in the park require that the management undertakes a number of measures to mitigate the effects of these invasive species. We are globally confronted with a problem of invasive species, not just here in the whole of India, and as a matter of fact in the whole of the world. That invasive species are pushing out the natural flora, and that has an effect on the wildlife population in these areas. So this requires an intervention and, of course, an understanding as well of what the causes for these changes are. Therefore, national park management today means also a very close link to research. We are no more living in times where you could manage a little bit, cut here and burn there a little bit. You need to understand what is actually driving changes in a national park. And for that you need also researchers that provide you with the sort of data. And this is what Kanha has. Kanha is in an excellent position because it is linked to a number of academic institutions, the Wildlife Institute of India, even foreign institutions who are providing information on some of the aspects that are important for wildlife management. And I must congratulate the managers. Over the years I have known all the directors of Kanha National Park. They are some of the best managers that are basing their management interventions on this sort of scientific information.
Thank you.